Welcome to the Deep Dive Books channel, where we hope you find something valuable every day.
Today, let's finish discussing Fluke by Brian Klaas. Klaas is not a major figure, and this book may not become a classic. However, I believe that, if you can absorb its insights, it will fundamentally shape your neural pathways, as it addresses the most foundational aspects of human perception. In essence, Klaas's framework can be summarized in three principles. 1. Worldview. The world is rational and almost certain but ultimately unpredictable. 2. Life view. You lack free will, but you are free. 3. Value system. Order brings a sense of control, but chaos brings joy. Let's begin with the value system, starting with a well-known story. In 2003, author Michael Lewis published Moneyball, which became a sensation and was adapted into a film in 2011, starring Brad Pitt. This true story recounts how Billy Beane, the general manager of the Oakland Athletics, used data analytics to successfully manage his team. You may be familiar with this story. Baseball has always valued data, but scouts once relied more on intuition and less on scientific metrics. Working with others, Beane used advanced analytical methods to reassess players and game data, discovering that some players and skills were undervalued. For instance, scouts traditionally prioritized home runs, which inflated the price of players, known for hitting them. However, Beane's approach revealed that players with high on-base rates contributed significantly to the team even if they didn't hit home runs. As a result, such players were overlooked and affordable. Using this method, Beane assembled a strong team at a low cost, instructing them on the most effective strategies for playing the game. This Moneyball mentality transcended baseball, inspiring many people. Sports were now seen as a solvable mathematical problem, revealing that conventional wisdom and gut instincts were often wrong. It was a revelation that every process might benefit from a data-driven overhaul. For example, the NBA has increasingly emphasized three-point shooting and close-range scoring, reducing the role of traditional mid-range shots. In baseball, after adopting Moneyball principles, the game became a methodical sport. Players focused solely on efficiency. For instance, pitchers could analyze batters' strengths and weaknesses in detail, often pitching in ways that made hitting difficult, leading to frequent strikeouts. While this approach boosted efficiency, it made the game less engaging. If both sides are overly familiar with each other's strategies, the match loses excitement. As Klaas puts it, it becomes like a competition between spreadsheets, with players executing moves perfectly aligned with optimal theory. Consequently, baseball began losing its charm, and attendance declined. The Major League Baseball (MLB) responded by de-moneyballing the game in 2023, implementing three rule changes. 1. Pitch timer. Pitchers must release the ball within 15 seconds with no runners on base, or 20 seconds with runners. This limits the time for complex strategy calculations. 2. Shift limits. Previously, defenders could shift positions based on a batter's tendencies, e.g. placing 3 players on one side for a left-handed batter. This is now prohibited, with 2 players required on each side of the field. 3. Bigger bases. Bigger bases make stealing easier, adding more unpredictability. These changes paid off. Compared to the 2022 season, average game time in 2023 decreased from 3 hours and 3 minutes to 2 hours and 39 minutes. Stolen bases per game increased from 1.4 to 1.8. The game became more fast-paced and intense, with more runs, increased hitting, and baseball's vibrancy restored. While new optimal solutions may emerge, for now, both fans and players appreciate these new rules. Baseball has a strict set of rules and limits, making it the easiest environment to find optimal solutions. This confirms that the world is inherently rational. It means there is order to follow and that your efforts can yield results. This is a basic principle, without which, if the world were entirely chaotic, civilization and progress would be impossible. However, the baseball story of Moneyball and its reversal reveals the limits of optimization. You can't exhaustively define the rules of the world or find a final solution to baseball. If the goal is to make the game perpetually captivating for fans, then ironically, there is no ultimate formula. When aiming for maximum efficiency, you might find fans losing interest in the game altogether. Optimization brings order, which fosters a sense of control, but extreme order is lifeless. Think about it. If there is a right way to do everything, we might as well have AI assistants guiding every action we take. Imagine the bleakness if we followed every AI instruction perfectly, living in a world without room for deviation, spontaneity, or surprise. Such a world would be devoid of meaning. We'd be like programmed machines. The German sociologist Hartmut Rosa puts it well. It is only in encountering the uncontrollable that we really experience the world. Only then do we feel touched, moved, alive. The good news is that outside sports, the world is even less predictable. Trying to control everything often backfires, and a little slack can actually improve outcomes. Klaas gives an example. On Borneo, an island in Southeast Asia, there are indigenous tribes that grow rice, a crop highly dependent on climate. Yet the local weather is unpredictable, with cycles of drought, floods, and pests. To hedge against disaster, some tribes don't plant rice in every field. One tribe, the Kantu, even uses birds to decide where to plant. Their ancestors selected 7 bird species, following intricate rules to make planting decisions based on their behavior. Surprisingly, the Kantu rice harvest is least affected by climate disasters. Why? Because randomness provides redundancy, which boosts resilience. It may not yield the highest rewards, but it also avoids the worst risks. This mirrors genetic drift in evolution, where not every outcome must be optimal. Feasibility is often better, and it's more interesting. Controlling the world requires predicting it, yet the world is fundamentally unpredictable. We've discussed this before on this channel. Quantum mechanics introduces inherent uncertainty. But even without quantum mechanics, assuming every particle follows strict mathematical equations, the world would still be unpredictable. This is due to Stephen Wolfram's computational irreducibility. Most processes are so complex that there's no shortcut to foreseeing outcomes. You must wait and observe as they unfold. While you can identify some limited cause and effect patterns, predicting a sufficiently complex system is impossible. In other words, controlling the world is an illusion. Paradoxically, it's this unpredictability that grants us freedom. Since you can't always know the right choice, you're free to choose. This brings us back to free will. We've often discussed this topic, particularly Robert Sapolsky's Determined, A Science of Life Without Free Will. Physically and biologically, we lack free will, but recently I came across a different perspective. In The Singularity is Nearer, Ray Kurzweil explores free will from an angle that resonated with me. He emphasizes that our brains are complex systems. With complexity comes computational irreducibility, meaning no one can predict exactly how a particular influence will affect you. Since no one can predict you, no one can control you. Since you're beyond control, you're indeed free. Think about it. Countless factors shape who you are, but no single force dictates your actions. No authority, be it an individual, government, or drug, can fully control you. Not even you can completely control yourself, as the brain is a diverse collective, and even consciousness is an emergent property. Since no one can wholly dictate your actions, you are free. This freedom explains why we feel we possess free will. It's a remarkable blessing that our world meets these 3 criteria. 1. The world is rational, allowing you to improve your situation by making the right choices. 2. The world is unpredictable, so you don't always know what the right choices are, enabling freedom. 3. Thus, the world remains endlessly fascinating. Right and interesting may seem at odds, yet our world delivers both. So, how should we live in a rational but unpredictable world? Klaas offers 3 principles. 1. Humility. No one can control everything. Embrace, I don't know. You don't truly know outcomes, so you can only move forward tentatively. Letting go of control can be liberating. 2. Exploration. Evolution is wiser than we are. There's always something unexpectedly valuable emerging in the world. Stay open to it. 3. Connection. Most importantly, understand that we may not control anything, but we influence everything. Every small action you take, no matter how trivial, might ripple out to affect others. A kicked soccer ball might save a life. A passing remark might inspire someone. Sharing an article might solve a major issue. This echoes the book's subtitle. Why Everything You Do Matters. Klaas concludes that, in this sense, we are not isolated individuals but integral parts of a whole. I find this thought comforting, because it implies that the broader outcomes are not solely your responsibility. Do your best, but recognize that you don't control the entire system. There's no need to stress. This concludes our discussion of Fluke. To end, I'd like to quote the French philosopher Jacques Derrida. A decision that did not go through the ordeal of the undecidable would not be a free decision. It would only be the programmable application or unfolding of a calculable process. In essence, a true decision is made without knowing the outcome. Playing by the book doesn't define power. True power is in freedom. Living by rules isn't truly living. Real life is found in exploration. If you have the courage to seek order while accepting the limits of control, you will find joy in the chaos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.